What is going on, everyone? Actually, I wanted to share a story of how I ended up getting to where I'm at. Usually I always talk about something sad or something. So, I used to be very positive, but I don't know, lately I haven't been, probably because of the surgery and all that crap. But I'm going to talk about the story of how I ended up getting to like where I'm at now. So, it all started back in 2011. I was working for a company, and it was a cleaning company. And I'm trying to remember the name of the, what was the name of the company? Clean Jean, or Jean Clean, or something like that. Clean Jean, I think that was the name of the company. And I used to work in this building, right? And there was like 4 offices in one building, office suites or whatever you call them. And I used to clean. I had, we used to clean there, and I was working for a company, and I ended up getting in that company was through a friend, because I used to live in California, and then I moved up here to Washington. And I had a friend that used to live up here, and he was working through a company, the same company that I used to work for. And so I had a dog, and she ended up passing away. It was kind of a sad story. I don't want to go into details about how she ended up passing away, but it was sad. And what's funny is I had a dream, saying that in that dream that she was gonna for some reason pass away or something. And I said, well, if she ends up passing away, my little dog I had, this was before I got Snoopy, then I'm gonna leave this place, because there's nothing here for me. And at that time I had an old pickup truck. It was a 1988 Mitsubishi. I think it was like a Dodge Ram 150 or something like that. And something going on here. So I said the day that something happens to you, I'm leaving. I'm not staying here anymore. Because back then I used to live in an old shack. I used to live in in a built what do you call those? The travel trailers, the ones in the truck, the campers, It's built out of wood, and I was living in there. And in order to get to town, you would have to drive, 50 miles or something. And I used to work for them. They had land and animals and stuff like that. And I worked for them for, I don't know, it was a while. I think it was probably like a year. And then, but I just didn't really like the country like that, because you have to drive so far in town to get food and whatever. And that pickup truck, those are good. Those old cars and trucks, man, they're better than these new cars. They're easy to fix if something goes wrong. But anyways, I don't want to bore you with all that other stuff. Maybe in another video of my truck, how that truck made me survive all those years. And so I had a friend, and that was living in Washington, and then I had asked him, I said, I kind of told him the situation. What was funny is that, when I had that dream, it was like 3 or 4 months later. That's what happened. My dog passed away. She ended up getting eaten by a coyote. You really want to know the truth. it was just sad, and I had to watch the whole thing, and there was nothing I could do about it, you know, because it was like happened so fast, and by the time I had tried to save her, it was the dog took off, the coyote took off with her, and it was too late. So I had told my dog, I said, you know, if anything ever happens to you, I said, I'm out of here. You know, it's funny how things work, you know. Sometimes it works for good and sometimes it works for bad, you know what I mean? And at that time, I guess it worked for the good, because that's what happened. And then I called my friend, I said, you know, I want a different lifestyle, you know, something new or something. I can't remember exactly what I said. This was a long time ago, 10 years ago. I'll tell you the rest of the story before that, you know, how I ended up getting in that ranch. Maybe at another video, you know, when I'm really ready. And so we had talked and all that, and he goes, yeah, you can stay over here, and then, you know, I'll probably get you a job, what have you. So I sold my pickup, and I was living off of that money for like, you know, a few months, and then I bought the ticket, and then I had like, I mean, very few money left over. I probably had like $60-$80 after when I sold the truck. I think I sold the truck for like $1,500. And this guy really wanted it. He goes, yeah, I want that truck, you know. And I said, all right, come and get it. So it was a salvage truck that I ended up getting. And me and my stepdad got it. We fixed it up, and man, that truck would last for a long time. Went through all those miles and everything. Anyway, so ended up getting over here, coming down here in Washington. I had like $60-$80, something like that. I didn't have nothing. I had bad credit. My credit was all screwed up. I didn't have nothing, you know. So at that time, I didn't have nothing. And then, so I ended up here, and then the first job I got was, I was working for the airport delivering luggages that were lost, because, you know, luggages get lost at the airport. And I did that for like 4 or 5 months, something like that. And it was very hard because I didn't know the streets. You know, the streets are like very, like in Seattle. Well, it's I don't live in Seattle, but I'm saying like the city in Seattle is crazy. I got lost and everything. I said, I don't know how people can live in Seattle. It's just not my cup of tea. So my friend Bob was working for this company, and it got me into the company. And so I started working in this building, in one of the buildings that the guy owned, you know, the company. And I used to work for a lady there. Her name was, I don't want to give no names and stuff. And she goes, you know, she had mentioned to me this idea. She goes, well, why don't you start your own business? And I said, I never owned a business before. I've never ran a business. I don't even know how to run a business. So she gave me that idea. And this was strange because back then I didn't take my job serious. You know how most workers, most employees, you know, they just work for a paycheck. And that's what I did, you know, just wanted to get paid, you know. So I wasn't really into my work. And one of the accounts that I had, you know, I wasn't doing a good job, and so the guy let me go. But he said you can still work at the other company, at the other building. and into the end of the month, and then they're going to let me go altogether. So basically they fired me. And the lady that had gave me the idea of working for myself, I had taken up her offer. I said, you know what, I'm going to talk to the manager or the guy that owns this building and see if he'll hire me to clean his building. So that's how I ended up working for myself, or started working for myself, independent contractor. And then from that point on, I never looked back. I had that one account for the longest. I had that account for like a year or something like that, 8 months, a year. And so I was making like $600-700 I think a month. He's paying me very little, and I would go there 5 days a week. He was paying me $700, but at that time I was living in a trailer, and I was paying, I don't even know what it was. I think it was $475 back then. That's pretty reasonable. And then the trailer that I was living in, it was paid for. I didn't have nothing. I bought an old car. I didn't have no bills. That's what thing about it too, though, is when you have credit, man, you can get yourself into a hole, and then it's very hard to get out of that hole. That's how you end up getting screw up your credit. If you don't have enough resources to pay for what you want, then don't buy it. You know what I mean? Because chances are you're going to get yourself stuck in a crisis, and then you're going to be like where you ended up in the beginning, with nothing, bad credit and everything. Or if you play your cards right, you could actually, do pretty good. I mean, with credit you can do pretty good, but you have to be careful too, though, because you don't want to get yourself in a hole. But you do need a car, right? You need a car to travel. You need a banking account, put your money in. But I think what most people do is they end up doing the same thing. It's very hard, like the economy and stuff. Like if you don't use your head, you can end up getting yourself back to where you first started, and you might not ever get out of that. You might just keep doing the same cycle over and over. But anyway, so that's how I ended up opening my own business. It was from the friend I used to have. And I used to work for her. Well, when I had that account, I had the building. I was doing the building, working for him, and then I was working for her because she had like this nice house and grass and all that. She wanted me to do landscaping and some of that stuff I know how to do. I'm not too good at it, but so I was doing that, making money, and then I was working for my friend on the side, making money. So, all those two side jobs, and then my business, that's how I ended up growing. If it wasn't for those people, I probably wouldn't be here. And then the funny thing is that, I don't know, it's like, when my business picked up, and I didn't have time, to help them anymore. I guess they kind of just figured that I wasn't worth, their time or whatever. So I stopped working for them. But it's just funny how things work, and then it's just so that's how I ended up starting, my little business. And then I don't know. There's two good things. I don't know. I should say two good things about it, but I guess you could say there's a good and there's a bad. You know, good is you make good money. The bad is you pay a lot more in taxes. Independent contractors and self-employed, I guess. Is that how you say it? Self-employed people pay more in taxes than a corporation or a LLC. And these are things that I have figured out because I didn't know about them. But it took me a long time to figure out how to run a business because I didn't know nothing about it. It took me 8 months to a year before I started picking up new accounts. And then, you know, if I would have had known the things I would have known now, you know, I think business would have been booming, but everything else going on and stuff, sometimes that's not what you want to do, you know. It's like I don't really know how to explain it. It's really hard because, you know, like when you I guess you have to be lucky or something. You know, because the taxes are so high, you can't really, it's hard to find someone that wants to work, you know, for a little pay because they think that you're making a lot of money. So that's kind of like, you know, so I'm doing okay, but that's kind of like where it got me the thought of thinking, you know, maybe I want to try something different. You know, this is not what it used to be when I first started, you know, fun, you know. Like if your job is not fun, then chances are, you know, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to be good at your job anymore, you know, that kind of work you're doing, you know what I mean? That's kind of like where I'm at the point of my life right now is it's not what it used to be, you know, and I'm not really into it like I used to be. And then besides that, with the surgery and everything, you know, it's not like I'm gonna be able to be doing what I'm doing how I used to do it the first time around. I remember I used to be very energetic, you know, very motivated, very positive. That's what you have to do, you know, in order to get ahead. If you're like slope and don't think about those things, you're not going to get ahead. You're going to be very positive. And lately I haven't been that way, you know, ever since I had gotten this hernia. So it's like, I don't know if I'm cutting corners here or what, but it's not, I don't think the same anymore in my, I guess that's not what I really want to do, you know, is do this anymore. I want to do something different. Anyways, that's how I end up doing, you know, starting my own business. And I've been doing it for 10 years, and want to know what I do commercial cleaning. I clean commercial buildings in the nighttime. And those 4.5 years when I used to live, you know, in another city, I used to travel to my work for 30 miles one way, 60 miles, 60, 70 miles a day. And I did that for 4.5 years. And I used to live in a house, and I said, you know, this is not it. So I end up moving out of the house, and I bought me a travel trailer. You can see that in some of the older videos. And I got me a truck. But now the truck has problems. You know, these cars nowadays, they don't make them like they used to make them. They're pieces of junk, I think. You know, it's like you pay high money for a nice car, quality car, and you get junk. But those are things you have to learn in life. You know, it's not like I didn't have a dad to teach me nothing. So I'm learning as I'm going. But then, you know, now I'm like in my 40s. I'm thinking, well, what the hell am I learning now? Life is short, people. You know, it's short, very short, to figure out what you want to do. By the time you know, you'll be 50 years old, you'll be 60, you'll be 70, and then lights out. That's how the world works. And then, you know, you have to figure it out. It's a different world we live in. But I don't want to get off track here. But yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed those years working. But that's not something that I plan on doing for the rest of my life. I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. After surgery, I have to make up my mind what I want to do. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Huh? Tell me what you think. If I do get any comments,